Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today, it's a very special day. Today, we are celebrating 800 interviews on the show so far. And to celebrate this special occasion, we are going to have our first guest from Japan. His name is JoJo, and he's from Tokyo. Thank you so much for watching the show. Thanks so much for joining me on this beautiful journey called Wheel in the Magic Box. I appreciate a lot. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoyed the interview.
Hello there.
Hello, Jojo. Hey, how are you?
Right. Fine, thank you.
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time for the interview this evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Amazing. Should I call you Jojo or Jojo?
Whatever you want. Yeah, JoJo, just J-O-J-O. Anything's
JoJo.
fine.
Amazing. So tell me, how's your day been so far? Today was busy day?
Yeah, it was all right. It's a first day back from my uni, conservatoire. I study musical theatre. So I'm back from that. A little bit hectic, but you know what? A little bit tired as well, but you know, it's all good.
How long have you been studying musical theatre for?
I'm in my third year now. Sorry, I'm eating grapes. I'm in my third year at the moment. So yeah, this is my third year, the final year. A little bit stressful, but yes.
Amazing. So tell me, where you're from?
I'm originally from Japan. I've been there for 12 years. And after 12 years, then flown to England, to Oxford. Been there for a while, then living in London for 3 years, as I said. So,
Wow.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something now. I have already over 800 people on the show, and you are my first guest from Japan.
Really? Oh, gosh.
Yes. And also, I'm going to tell you something as well. I always wanted to have someone from Japan. I'm so fascinated about your country. And actually, I had the interview yesterday, and I had a few guests on the show that they always talk about going to Japan. Their bucket list, it's going to Japan, spend some time there. Yesterday, I had an interview with a lovely man from Sweden, and he said there was a question about, doing something like a bucket list, and he said, William, I would love to go to Japan. So yes, I'm so glad now that we're connecting, because I've been trying to find someone from Japan to participate on the show, and suddenly there you are.
Well, I popped along, and here we are.
Amazing. Thanks so much for taking the time and for being my first guest. Amazing. Jojo, so tell me, you said you've been living in London for 3 years, yeah? And you came to London just because your course?
Yeah, just because of my course, yeah.
And what do you like the most about your course? What do you enjoy the most?
What do I enjoy the most? Well, I do musical theatre course, so we always do like musical theatre shows every once in a while. We just finished a show called Curtains. It's a murder mystery musical. I was one of the leads playing that, so that was exciting. And we done that in December, and it's always fun. We do like various shows as well. You know, it's all those jazz hands and whatnot, and yeah, it's really fun to sort of explore, different sort of different styles of musicals, and just makes you realize why you're doing the course. So.
And are you planning to stay in England, in London, for a long while, or you're just here to study and not to go back to Japan?
Yeah, I stay here. I think there's more opportunities in London. There's so much job opportunities in London, whether that's performing or finding connections as well, because that's the one thing I learned, is the amount of connections that you need to find to get up there and stuff. And so yeah, I'll be staying in London after I study.
I see. And where's about in Japan you come from?
Tokyo.
Wow, born and raised?
City. born and raised in city. So yeah.
And tell me, how was growing up in Tokyo, in Japan?
Yeah, it was great. because I lived in a place where everything was walking distance. My primary school was 20-second walk. We had a convenience store. We had a train station. The only thing we didn't have was the airport. But the airport, you can just take the train. 40 minutes, 45. It's there. We had everything, and I was really privileged, to be fair, because we had everything, but we're not in the really richest part in Tokyo, so it was definitely affordable as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. My parents didn't like it because the amount of cars coming in, but I got used to it. So.
And all your family are back in Japan, in Tokyo?
No. Well, my mum and dad still in Oxford at the moment. And my mum's gonna travel back to Japan in around February, March time, because she's a piano teacher. So she's gonna do a piano concert there. Wow. That's sort of like an international event, which sounds exciting. Wow. So yeah, and then so my parents are in not London, Oxford now, and then they go to Japan sometimes.
I see. And you are the only child, or you have siblings as well?
I'm an only child. I have stepbrothers, stepsisters. I have one stepsister and two stepbrothers, from my dad's end. And yeah, so I'm basically an only child. So yeah.
And your parents, they came to Oxford to be with you, to support you, or they just for different reasons?
Well, we lived in Japan for a while, and the reason why we kind of moved to England was it's a bit sad. It's my dad's health, and obviously he thought if I had to spend the rest of my time, it would be in Japan, it would be in England. So he flew to Oxford eventually. That followed with me and my mum as well, because he was kind of lonely on his own. So we thought, okay, you know what, grudgingly go to Oxford, support him and whatnot. And yeah, so that's the whole story, really. So yeah.
Very good. Right, so before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, how would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself?
Something interesting about myself? Oh God. All I can think is musical theatre. Scrap that. I used to be, I was very close on being in a national team for a sprint, as a sprinter in Japan, being a sort of national team. But I just said no, it's too much effort, and I got too much homework to do.
What means sprinter? What is this, a modality of a sport?
Sprinter. So I was really fast kid. So we did like 50-meter race, 100-meter, and a sprinter. Just you sprint, 100-meter, 200 meters, however long, and you just run. If you can run the fastest, you win. And I never actually lost any racing competitions in my school. I was always number one, and there are actually some scouts coming in and be like, "Oh, you should come to our team," and I'm like, "No."
Amazing. All right, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yes, go on. Let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend, okay? Random questions. I'm just gonna play a song now, just for us to move a little bit before the first question. Okay? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Look at you showing your ability, your dance ability.
God, stop.
Jojo, before we start the game, during the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, I always can change, okay?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, first question for you is, who makes you laugh the most?
Who makes me laugh the most? Myself. Because I do want a reason. Well, I say myself because of the stupid things that I do, and I find that funny. That was really deep, Jesus Christ. But also, I think for you to be happy in your life, you need to actually make yourself laugh. And if you are laughing, then everything is fine. So, yes.
Totally. It makes a big difference when you are able to laugh with yourself. That's for sure. It's like a therapy.
Mm.
And you always had this way of thinking, this mindset?
Yeah, I would say so. I was at a really, really sort of, vulnerable state when I was younger in teenage life. And then there was one time where I was like, you know what, I'm fed up of, trying to please other people and, being at this musical theatre world where it's all like diva and, people are so competitive. I just thought, you know what, if I'm at the place where I can make myself happy, it's all fine. So.
Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, JoJo from Japan. Next question is, what is the worst pickup line have you ever heard?
Worst pickup line? Oh, God. Worst pickup line? Right. You're such a good lift. No, if you were an object, you'd be a lift because I would get down on that.
It was directed to you, or you heard someone saying to somebody?
Both. I heard someone say it, and I thought, you know what, it's funny. And I said the pickup line, and people just did not like it. I was like 18, 19 at the time. Gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me something. How, in your opinion, how is since you've been living in England and you had, of course, back in Tokyo as well? Let's say in the dating world, people trying to, to go out with other people, like people try to impress other people. In your opinion, what's the biggest difference between Tokyo and London in this field? Like how, in your opinion, people try to contact with each other, like to go for a date or to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the method is really, really different between two countries. And I think from what I heard in Japan and what I heard in the sort of the London life, I think the difference is because it's funny as well, because it relates to the culture of how in our Valentine's is always it's always us giving, the girl or, whoever you fancy, the flowers. But in Japan, it's the female giving, someone that you like, a chocolate. So it's really interesting how, so it's interesting on which genders go first, or, the sort of preference of who should, make the move and stuff. And I feel like in here it's more of the, the male considering genders to be more the dominant one, to show that, they are more in the sort of authority or in power. But I feel like in Japan, they're more, you see simps from female sides, and which I think is really interesting, because I never seen stuff in Japan in here. I just never seen it.
Interesting. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me, when was the moment that you realized that, okay, I was born to be an actor, that is my gift? There was a moment in your life, or graduated, you kind of realized that? And the other part of the question is, did you have the support of your family regarding that?
So the moment I became an actor, well, I thought to become an actor, it's really funny, because when I was younger, I was really, surrounded by all these sort of music, but not actually in musical theatre. My mum's a piano teacher, who teaches classical piano. My dad was a jazz pianist, and I never sort of encountered the musical theatre. And it's quite funny. I think when I was around like 15, 16, there was a girl that I liked, and obviously I was a singer at the time. So I thought, oh, you know what, I want to sing a duet with her. So I sang a duet with her, and I realized she was in this musical theatre club. Now I was like, oh, I'd done musical theatre before, and it's all right. Never, gonna pursue that. But I actually went to the musical theatre society, or this drama school, for teenagers, and I went there, you know, thinking that I could, chase the love of my life, but realizing that I actually, gained a lot of friends. Thought, this is a good escapism, good place where I feel like, I'm not, myself, and just escape into this world where, it's fine to be, yourself, and just, explore these different things. And, I really enjoyed that. And then from then on, I thought, you know what, I want to pursue this. And what was your second question?
Your parents, they supported you when you realized that you would like to pursue this career?
Yeah. I mean, they were definitely more supportive on, me doing musical theatre than me, doing tennis, because I really wanted to be a professional tennis player as well. And I was really good at it. I was number 3 in Oxfordshire.
Wow.
I was like, it's all right, But my parents are like, yeah, you're not gonna be famous anyway, which is kind of, a dig. It's like, you should be, doing something music, because we are musical, and So I was like, nah. But then realizing that, what, I'm actually not bad at music. It was then that they were like, what, we'll support you.
Yeah. All right. Next question is, if you could give just one advice to your president back in Japan, what would you say? Just one advice.
One device?
A device, yeah, just one. Let's say that you are having a FaceTime now with the president of Japan, yeah? You have a president, or you have prime minister there? It's a president.
We have presidents.
Presidents, okay. So let's say that you have now, the president is FaceTime with you, and you can give just one advice to your president in Japan. What would you say? Just one.
Oh God, the immediate thing which came to my head was so dark, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. Because recently, the most beloved person, the prime minister or whoever, got shot. Where it's a country where guns are not allowed, and he was literally shot right on the chest, right at the heart, when there was no security guards. So what I would say a device would be more security guards, so that you're more safe. But yeah, I mean, in all seriousness though, his name was Abe. He was a very lovely man. He was very loved. He's equivalent, or definitely like Obama. People, really cherished him, and it was a massive loss. And that happened last year, 2 years ago. I mean, time has flown. But yeah, it's something which is a massive shock for us as well. So yeah, it's sad to reminisce those sad memories.
Amazing. Oh wow. Tell me something. As you mentioned about, guns are prohibited in Japan overall, but do you feel like Tokyo is a safe city to live?
It's safer, definitely. It's because obviously, guns are not allowed. Only, police officers get, not even police officers get like proper guns now. It's only like high authority people who actually, gain access to these things. It's definitely safer. It's I would say a much it's a very busy city, so I feel like people are just more concentrated on these things and wanting to get the work done. And I would say it's safer, but it's not particularly a so-called happy place. Which is sad for me to say, but I think that's why Japanese are renowned to be the one of the most hardworking people. They they established loads of companies, Toyota or like any cars, any alcohol, like and they're able to establish this company because they are hard workers. And yeah, I would say it's definitely safer.
All right. Next one, Jojo, let's do it. Go.
I don't know why I had sunglasses in my
Next question is, what bad habits you wish you could stop?
Bad habits I could stop. Oh gosh. Well, yeah, it's a bad habit. Yeah, I think it's just the fact that I'm on my phone all the time, but not social media. So that's the thing. People say it's a bad habit, but then I'm looking at my phone for all like the opportunities I could find as a performer. So people say it's a bad habit, you should get off your phone. But at the same time, I'm like, there's jobs and I'm a performer. I got to keep myself busy. So I'm just going to, do it. That's the sort of bad habits I can find. And yeah.
And how long can you go without checking your phone?
5 minutes. Should I check my phone now?
Can you keep on the side just for the interview? Good. I'm glad.
You know what? It's a record time.
Next question. Okay, Jojo. Next question is, what is one thing you can't live without?
Phone.
I'll say.
Okay, without phone. But gosh. One thing I can't live without. I can only think of sloppy answers like my parents.
Okay. Why is that?
I mean, my parents have definitely been there for me, and parents including my cat. And they've always been there for me, no matter what. And they've always been, supportive, and because I feel like in some relationship between the parents and the child, can be I think it's different among like different parents, and it could be that you are you're more strict with your kids, or you don't give them much freedom. But I feel like with the relationship that I have, especially with my mum, is definitely like a best friend sort of relationship, where I feel like I can be open. I can just talk about anything that I'm doing, that I've done, whether it's good or bad. And she's always been there and then giving me sort of honest feedback. And I genuinely can't think of what I would do without them. Yeah.
Saying that, what's the biggest difference between you and your parents, and the biggest similarity?
That's an interesting question. I think the biggest difference that I got is I think the given sort of privileges I've been given as my situation, especially since I am a city boy, but my mum and my dad are both from villages, so not from city at all. So they would have loved to done the stuff that I'm doing, but they weren't able to because they didn't have much money. So the way of actually for them to be famous is for them to do hard work. Not saying that I don't do any hard work, but I certainly had more opportunities than my parents per se. And speaking of hard work, I think the similarities that we all got was the fact that we know that things don't come to you. It's one of those things that if you want it, you just gotta grab it and take it, instead of just sitting there waiting for things to come along. Because there's so many of my friends in university which people are just waiting for things to come along, and waiting for the opportunities to come along. But I'm just there like, if it's there, you gotta take it. Don't be modest. Just actually try it. And if you get it, cool. If you don't get it, then actually use that, as a sort of the learning curve, and use that to your advantage, I would say. Yeah.
All right. Ready for another one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Next question. Before the next question, tell me through your career, tell me one moment through your performance, your career, your that you go like, okay, that project or that moment in your career or that presentation or that performance, it was special, that you go like, okay, so far, that's the one that I'll never forget. It's always going to have a special place in my heart. And why?
See, mine will, because there's one performance which immediately comes to mind. As I said before, I was really passionate tennis player, and I've completely, I would say completely sort of stopped anything music to sort of pursue in, the world of tennis. Then I saw this teacher called Mr. Ahmad. He's still, teaching in my old school. He's the one who actually, noticed my talent. So I got this thing called perfect pitch, where I can identify pitch without them giving me the note. And it's something that you're born with it, and it's something that you can't just, you can't get rid of it. It's there. My teacher, out of all the music teachers, to be fair, he was the only one which saw that. I was like, why are you not using this? And I was like, it's not something special, is it? It's like, yeah, it damn well is special. It's 1 in 1,000 people, 1 in 2,000 people. So I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. And he was like, okay, perform on this Christmas concert. Since you are listening into jazz and whatnot, sing a song. So I sang a song called "JoJo on My Mind," written by, made famous by Ray Charles, and then made it famous by Michael Bublé as well. And I sang that song in a Christmas concert, and I sang it. It's the first time I sang in front of public for 5 or 6 years, and it was people never realized that I could sing. So all these people, I counted specifically 15 people came up to me and said that, I never heard you sing, why are you not singing more? And people just complimented me, and it was a nice sensation, because it was completely different to tennis. You just win or lose, and we only care about the winners, and we don't care about the losers. That's the sad reality in sports. People remember who's first, maybe the second, but not so much on people who lost, which is sad, but that's the reality of sports. But then the beauty of art, I realized, was how there's no such things as loser. It's just you can only count yourself as a loser if you actually name yourself one. But then if you actually believe that you're the winner, every performance that you do is good and brilliant. And then that was what I kind of felt, and I felt really appreciated. And that was sort of the moment which sort of drove me to pursue more singing, more musical theatre. So that was definitely one of the more important parts of my memories. Yes.
Beautiful story, beautiful story, because you have 2 passions in your life, which was the tennis, was something that you literally put all your soul, all your life on it, and suddenly, in a blink of eyes, something came along that you really loved it as well, and makes the person you are today. Very interesting. Love that. Okay, next question is, tell me a negative thing that happened to you that came out as a positive thing in the end.
Negative thing which came out as a positive thing at the end. So it's an audition for my university. You had to audition to get in. and then you had to be there, be at the venue at 9. And it was out in London. I was in Oxford, so I had to wake up at 5 o'clock. And this university has 2 different venues. I arrived at the different venue instead of the venue that I was supposed to be in. So I was like, all right. Because basically I arrived at the venue at 8:30. It's a good time, arriving 30 minutes early to get used to the venue. And I just think, oh, there's no one in this venue. Like, what's happening? Like, is it only me who's auditioning? And there was like a security guard coming in because he was saying, oh, why are you waiting in the venue? And I was like, well, I'm here for the audition. He's like, but you're at the wrong place. Like, really? So I called with a reception phone call saying that I'm really sorry. I messed up all the locations. I'll be with you as soon as possible. And I was stressing. I was like, oh no, I haven't got it, because the stigma of art school is that if you're late into anything, if you're late, that you don't get it. So I was just crying. I was like, oh no, my phone didn't work. I was like, oh, I'm on my Google Maps. I can't find it. After 30 minutes, I finally found the place. There's tears coming out in my eyes, but I was like, you know what? And I had this mentality of, so I'm just going to do whatever. And I'm just going to, pretend that everything is fine. I know I'm not going to get this. So I just did the whole audition. But then, little did I know, 2 weeks later, I got the offer. So I was like, what? I got the offer, and then I'm in the 3rd-year course. And I specifically asked the reason of why I actually got it, because there are people who are talented, but then didn't get it. I was like, why did I get it? And people are like, yeah, you were late. But then it was the fact that you weren't putting yourself down because you were late. And it's because you arrived in the room having that sort of authority, saying that you're not really giving yourself an excuse. You're saying you're late. Well, I'm late and I'm here now. And I gave the best performance, because usually if people are late, people are so fidgety. People are like, oh, I'm sorry. But I was not that at all, because there was no point in being sorry, because I thought at the time that people are not gonna, forgive me. People are not gonna accept my position. But then the fact that because I was late, I made an impact in that room and say that, okay, well, here's EGOT. And bear in mind, I had no preparation, so there was that disadvantage as well. So then people obviously saw that, and then there was recalls on the day, and I gave one of the good performance, and so that's a thing which I thought was going to turn into a negative outcome, but it just turned into a positive outcome, and it's a true story.
Interesting. And I think as well, because, as you thought, when you got there, you said, okay, you know what? I have nothing to lose now. So let me just do it.
That was literally me. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to do it. If I get it wrong, I'm not going to get it anyway. So, but I just did it. And that was what they liked.
Amazing. 3 questions left for you, Jojo. Let's do it. But before the next question, as you're so passionate about tennis, who was your idol in tennis? And female and male, who was your inspiration for playing tennis?
Well, I have 2 people. One, I think everyone knows, Roger Federer. He's just a god. Everyone knows him. His game is flawless. He's still in the game after he's 40 years old, and it's absolutely flawless on what he does. And the form that he does is beautiful. And there's one more, I say performer, Jesus, one more player called Tommy Haas, which no one really knows, but I was obsessed with him. I was obsessed by his mannerism, his professionalism, his work ethic, and it was, it was not elegant for sure, but it was so It was so stern and so precise and so. It was definitely charismatic, and yeah, he was very, much more. What should I say? Much more bad tempered than usual people. But then for that, I say that's because he wants the best, and he was the one who played until he was in his 40s as well, which in tennis is very, very old because you retire around 30s. But then the age is going up, and then that is because of the inspiration that Tommy Haas had. So I absolutely loved him.
I love Roger Federer. Actually, it's because of him I start enjoying and understand tennis. I was in Portugal a few years ago, like a long time ago, and I was watching tennis for the very first time with a manager, and he was so into it, and he was like Wimbledon final, and I was like, oh my God, why you're so excited? I said, really, because Roger Federer is playing. And I was like, who is Roger Federer? And I started watching him. From that moment, I start loving tennis because of him. Because
wait, have you seen him live at Wimbledon?
Or not to Wimbledon. I've seen him live at the O2. I don't know when do the finals. In November is the 80 TAM or TPM, something like that. It's like the
ATP,
best of the best.
Yes. So HB,
I went to see him. Like
that
I think
is
for the
incredible.
I remember I have videos. Like I remember he's coming to the arena, the O2 arena, and everyone was like crazy. My goodness, he was like, I couldn't believe I was watching him. Guess what? He lost.
He lost? Oh my
but he lost the game, but this tournament, they play between each other. So if you lose the first, it doesn't. Yeah. But just the fact I was there, I couldn't believe I was watching Roger Federer play.
He's one player I would love to see him live, but I just never seen him live. I saw all the other famous players in Wimbledon, but he's one player I just never seen him live.
I couldn't believe. For me, it was a dream come true, and I couldn't believe that I was seeing Roger Federer playing live. I was like, wow, what
I'm envious. I'm jealous of you.
When he came into the O2, they opened this massive door, lights. It was like a nightclub, like lights and everyone screaming. He was
because
like
the thing king. Is, I live literally 15 minutes away from O2.
Really? Oh wow!
I literally in Greenwich, so it's just like the amount of times I was like, I would love to go there, but the ticket price is expensive, so I just couldn't.
Okay. Next question is, what do you like to cook the most?
Cook. I don't cook, but I say I don't cook. There are times that I cook. It's not that I can't cook. Because I was privileged enough to have two of the parents who can actually cook. Because obviously my mom is Japanese, so she cooks really nice Japanese foods. So I got some recipes on that, and obviously my dad's a good cook, but obviously British food is not very comparable with Japanese food. And I do like making some Japanese curry, and I've made it for the first time yesterday actually, and it was really tasty. And because you got your cubes. Japanese curry cubes, you crack them open, you put them in a pan, you stir them around, and you put some apples, you put some mixed vegetables. Apples. People say, why would you put apples? Every single Japanese people do it. It's a secret ingredient. It's apples and potatoes, which actually creates this fruity flavor into curry. So. That's one thing that I was like, okay, you know what? I'm proud that I've done that because I never thought I could, do it, and it's really tasty.
When you think about Japan, what's the best memory that comes to your mind through your period of living there?
Best memories. Oh God. It's funny because there was a department store. And we had, 5 stories high, and always on the 4th floor, it was a kids section, and in that kids section, there was this doesn't exist in England, and it should exist. There's this trading card game machine where you put the money in, you get one card, which people can collect, and after you collect those cards, you put those cards into this machine, and you play some games on it, and then it was so much fun. I mean, I explained it so poorly, but it's so much fun. And then there was so many range of games, which all the Japanese people will know. But it would be so interesting if England had this card playing game. You put £1 in, you get a card. I don't know. It could be, I don't know, like marble character, in a trading card, and you get these cards, and you make your Iron Man or whoever, battle owls, and I think it'd be such a genius invention. But I'm surprised that England has not done it. And I'm saying this right now that England should do it.
You are giving ideas now. People's gonna start, check it out.
People are like, how I can make money out of this. my idea, my copy.
You see, we are recording now. So after in the future, if you see someone doing it, you go, you know what? You share with me the profits,
I got proof.
or
Come on,
you are in charge. Yeah. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Right. Next question is tough question now. Okay. If your plane was going down, and you could call just one person to say goodbye, who that would be and why?
That is. But to say goodbye.
Yes.
One person. Anyone. Does it have to be someone I know?
No. First, your plane is going down. You just have one chance to call someone to say goodbye. You have no other chance. So who that would be?
One person I would say goodbye to. Oh, that's so sad. Immediately, which comes up to my head will be my mum. But then it wouldn't happen because my mum would probably be next to me on the plane. So
don't take your mom to the same plane. Okay?
I know. I'm just like,
God Lord.
But no, like if there has to be a time when my mum is, in a different country, I will say goodbye to my mum. I think it's tough, but I will have to, say that. Because my mum is the closest one to mine, as I previously mentioned. I don't know why I'm holding the post-it note, which is right next to me.
You got too nervous about the plane, about the call.
Yeah, I just nervous. I just picked up the random item, which, but yeah, it's it's. I mean, it would definitely be a tough call, but I think. I mean, what I'm going to say is very sad because my mum was saying, because I feel, because she was saying how when you have a kid, they're not even your treasure, they're a part of you, which I think that is a beautiful expression, which I still hold to this day. And I think because treating someone as a treasure, treating someone as yourself is so different. And thinking about this question, it just I don't know what she would do if I was dead, because from my mum's side, I'm the only son that she's got as well. So I think the impact on the she'll have will be so extravagant, and it's so extraordinary big. So thinking about that question made me think. I was like, oh, you know what? She was saying about this, how I am, herself as well. So yeah, that question really made me think. Gosh.
Oh, wow. Yes, I think parents, they're not ready to, to see their child or, going away. It's the opposite, you know what I mean? So yes, I think it's a really tough call. Anyway, she might be smiling right now, watching this interview to know how
why
special
not? Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. You're right.
She's gonna be still very special for sure. But she knows that. I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
Ready for the last one?
Yeah, go on. Let's go.
Let's do it. Next question. But before the last question, Jojo, I need to ask something. I've been living in London, in England, for the last 18 years now, and I used to work in hospitality in hotels, and you meet people around the globe. You meet so many people, different nationalities, different culture, and the Japanese culture, they literally got my attention, and I felt so respectful when they, the way they look at you, the way they approach you, the way they say thank you, they mean it. They look into your eyes. You can feel that they're not saying just to say. They literally mean it. Saying that, a few years ago, my mom, I brought her from Brazil, and we went to Paris, to Versailles Palace, to visit for the day. And of course, in those places, there were different groups of different nationalities with a guide, and they were explaining about, in the palace. And there was a group of Italian, they were talking, the gentleman was very loud, and there was a group of French, a group of Portuguese, and there was a group of Japanese. Yeah. And this lady, she was talking like that, very soft, and they could understand. And I said to my mom, Mom, look the difference, look at all those groups, yeah, and look the Japanese group, look the difference. And she was like, oh my God, it's so different, because everyone could hear what she was saying, could listen to her, but the tone of her voice was such a calming way. And I was like, you see, man, the difference, not wrong or right with all the nationalities, just the difference. And that proved to me, that concept I had about Japanese culture. I always say that they are ahead, the way of, the way they approach, the way they talk to people. And as I mentioned before, I had so many guests on the show that they talk so much about going to Japan to, to be there or to explore the Japanese culture. As you live now in a different, another part of the world, and you kind of experience both sides, why do you think there is this fascination about Japanese culture? Why people, when they think about Japan or Japanese people, they have this, way of positive and calming way of seeing the fascination about the Japanese culture? Have you ever thought about that, or did you ever experience something like that?
Oh, I think the culture difference between Japan and any other culture, I think Japanese culture are one of the politest and one of the warmest culture I think they ever had. Because especially on the World Cup, I'm not sure if you heard, because Japan, Team Japan, the male football team in Japanese national football team, they went to the quarterfinals for the first time in God knows how many years. And there were obviously, loads of Japanese people in the audience. And what I found fascinating, but at the same time not surprised, was how these Japanese people, when this team will lose, they pick up all the rubbish. They do all the rubbish. They bring. I literally got bin bags. Bring the one bin bag too, and they pick up all the rubbish that they had after they lose, and that is. The culture is like that in every single event in Japan. Whenever you had a massive, fanfare of an event, people would always just tidy the place up. There's so many cultures of, how if you have to leave the hotel, you got to leave it absolutely tidy. Because it goes all the way back to like the World War II times as well. And I think most of the culture is, based around all these, war times, because Japan was a really rough nation of, in terms of, wars and stuff, because we're very notorious, wars inside Japan, some wars which happened during, Japanese people and American people, and how Japanese people never give up. all these cultures are based around, you know, these war times and like the respect that they had for each of the nations. Um, and you know, the sort of the sheer professionalism that they have, and how they appreciate the sort of the hard, you know, hard work that they, you know, got to do to earn respect and stuff. And because if you give a Japanese person a business card, you would never fold it. You would never fold it. People, you know, people sometimes, you know, fold it and put it in their pocket. No. It's a mark of absolute respect. People would, you know, put them nicely, not even in the wallet, you know, put them nicely in a sort of card case and snap it in, put them in a pocket instead of, you know, folding it. Because that's what English people do. You know, you give them a business card, oh yeah, that's cool, and shove it in your pocket. But like, one thing that they will never do is, you know, put, you know, these in your, you know, back pocket, because it shows so much of the disrespect. And this culture is just unlike no other. And you know, we're always very polite. And you know, you will never see anyone steal in Japan. You'll see a wallet and it's there after 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's the sort of culture that we're in. And yeah, it's really unlike, you know, no other and stuff. And I wish that, you know, you know, all the other, you know, British or, you know, American, or all the other nation really sees this culture and tradition and really see where it comes from. And because it's honestly beautiful, if especially if you dive, you know, right into it, like all the like tradition stuff. It's so much different. And I could go on so many, and then there's so many books written about it. So, you know, for anyone, you know, watching this, you know, interview, definitely I think you know, Japanese culture is one of the most beautiful cultures, and I'm very lucky to, you know, share you know, the bloodline of, you know, the Japanese descent and my English descent, and I feel very lucky.
Wow. And it just made me remember a situation I had as well. And I was working in a very small hotel, and there were a 5-star hotel. I was working, and this Japanese couple, elderly couple, they came for breakfast. They were the only ones in the room, and I went there, you know, good morning, and they were literally like in this way of saying good morning. I knew already at the time, because I was working already for a few years, so I knew this approach they had. And there was this elderly couple, and the gentleman, he could speak English, but the lady, she couldn't. So sometimes she was asking questions to him, like, and he was translating. She was interested about where I was from, and I was kind of interacting with them a little bit. And at one point, the gentleman said to me, "Look, my wife just asked me if she could take a picture with you." And I was like, "Oh my God, really?" And she said yes. And she literally, she looked at me like asking permission from her eyes, her attitude. And she stand up, and I came close to her, and he took a picture. And I felt so like special, you know what I mean? I had this little interaction with them, and suddenly she just asked him to ask me, she could take a picture together. And I was like, oh my God, that was such a sweet gesture. That's, you know, I felt so special. And also I felt like, my goodness, how amazing. She couldn't say like much in English, and she kind of like said thank you to me. I was like, oh my God, no, that's not a problem at all. I felt special. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I should thank you. Gosh,
you know what I mean? It was just
honestly, it makes me happy, because like it just doesn't surprise me. It honestly, like, you know, whenever you say it, I was like, yeah, that's so Japanese, and it just makes me so happy that you know that there's still, you know, I say still, a lot of people that like almost everyone just it's in their blood, it's in their system, and they just it comes off naturally. And I really recommend going to Japan, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last question for you is, what is the soundtrack of your life and why?
Soundtrack of my life, oh God. Soundtrack of my life, like a soundtrack which describes my life.
Yeah, something when you think about music that, you know, describe yourself, about your life, what comes to your mind?
Oh God. because there are albums which comes on top of my head, but like they're just not my life. They're just such sad songs like Adele and Sam Smith.
It could be. It could be any song, but
like,
a song that you go like, you know what? This says a lot about me, about my life, about the moments that I'm living right now.
I think it'll. I think the easiest sort of soundtracks I can sort of that I can sort of connect to are definitely like musical theatre albums, and my absolute favorite is this musical called Parade. It's based around the real character Leo Frank, who is a Jewish American person, and he feels like he doesn't belong. It's after the Civil War, and it's where people were hating the Jewish people more than black people, and he gets hung at the end, but because of the crimes that someone's committed on raping 13-year-old girl and murdering them. But we don't even know until even when the musical finishes if he has done it or not. And there are so many songs which I can sort of relate back. And there are some comedic songs, and and there are so many songs which I can sort of relate how he feels like this place is not home, whether he feels this ethnicity difference, or just how people are not nice in general. I definitely feel that every time. And the songs are so romantic, and the music composed by a person called Jason Robert Brown. He's an absolute genius of integrating all these musical melodies and fitting them all in, writing in such a seamless manner, and it definitely, I can resonate life, not directly but definitely indirectly, and I listen to these soundtracks, and I learn something different about them all the time, and that's a soundtrack which comes on top of my head, but obviously it changes day after day. But I think this soundtrack, Parade, will always be my top choices.
Amazing. Okay, it's not the end yet. So let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words, and just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Okay. So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much, and enjoy the word association game. One word for family.
Love.
Money.
Greed.
One word for love.
Coffee.
Life.
Disparaging.
I like this word, disparaging.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm surprised at myself.
Sex.
Pointless.
What? Politics.
Boring.
Okay. Religion.
No comment.
Fear.
Ghost.
Friendship.
Betrayal.
Desire.
Women.
Regret.
Plenty.
Success.
Second.
Wish.
Genie.
Happiness.
Tea.
Not coffee anymore.
Not coffee anymore.
One word for London.
Busy.
One word for Tokyo.
Decorative.
One word for Japan.
Respect.
One word for acting.
Embraceable.
And the last one now, musical theater, one word.
God, don't do this to me. Escapism.
Good. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, what is the most beautiful thing about JoJo, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What your best friend would say?
My best friend would say, words from them, not me, how I'm full of talent, full of ambition, full of sort of life and dreams, which sounds cheesy, but I do have lots of, ambitions in my mind, and people would sort of, respect me, on that, and then definitely sort of hard work and on that. And I think my best friend will mention, what will they mention? I think the fact that I play mobile games all the time and spend too much money on it. Yeah, gosh, too much. Which people like. So my best friend would say to you, just don't give him mobile games, which are addicting. Because I will play on them and will spend thousands of pounds.
Ooh, all right.
No take.
Let's play now JoJo and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, JoJo from Japan, but actually, before you ask me a question, what is your favorite Japanese word?
Honestly, the first thing which comes on top of my head is, there's two words, and they're both food related. One is kanpai, which means cheers in Japan. And, people just say kanpai, and, they got the, Asahi beers, and there's this drink. And the one word is gochiso-sama, which is actually not definable because it doesn't actually exist. Because it's a way of saying thank you after you finish your food. Because there are words when you start your food, whether that's amen or do your all your religion traditions, and we do have our word in Japan, like itadakimasu, but gochiso-sama is the word which I reckon is only in Japan, where it's just saying we like the food and thank you for giving us the food. We are feeling more appetite. We're feeling more full in our stomach. So thank you for the food. And but again, that's going back into the respect and the beautiful tradition. And it's just the word which came on top of my head. I was like, you know what? There's actually never an English word for it.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks for sharing. Okay, you can ask me a question now.
Ask your question. Okay. Right. Okay, I ask this on every single people that I meet, and there's two questions. Can I ask you two questions, which kind of blend into another?
Yeah. Okay.
What is your favorite alcoholic drink? And if you were an alcohol drink, what would you be?
Amazing question. Over 800 interviews, nobody asking this question yet.
Yeah,
interesting.
No one else?
Interesting. Okay, so the first thing that came to my mind, an alcoholic drink, I would say pina colada. I love pina colada.
Nice.
The cocktail. It's quite sweet. And alcohol, I don't like much alcohol, but when I start drinking and tasting different drinks, and pina colada, it's sweet, it's kind of very tasty as well. There's like the pineapple, so it's something that's I like pineapple, so it sweets me very well. So I like it. I like pina colada. And the second part of the question is if I could be an alcohol. Yeah, which one?
Yeah, if you could describe yourself with an alcohol.
Okay, interesting question. And the first thing that came to my mind is whiskey, and I'll tell you why. I literally, I don't like the taste of beers. Wine as well. I can drink wine, but it's not something that's when you drink something, you appreciate, you taste it well. I cannot taste it like the way people they do and they understand about wine, beers, vodka, all the kind of drinks. But if I go out with friends and whiskey, something that mixed with like Coke or something, for some reason it tastes it tastes like sweet somehow, and it's kind of drinkable, and I enjoy it. It's a taste that I enjoy, like when I drink it. It's not like wine or beer that I just swallow it. You don't taste it. But for some reason, whiskey mixed with Coke, I kind of can drink, and I can kind of taste it well, the taste of whiskey. So yeah, that's it, my answer to you.
Nice.
But if I go to somewhere warm or somewhere that I'm gonna relax, I get a pina colada because it tastes just the best.
Nice.
Joe, did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, I did. Sorry, enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for being my first guest from Japan. You have no idea how happy I am. I've been, trying, and I've been talking to people around, my interviews, and I always say like, oh, I wish I had a Japanese guest on my show. And people are like, oh, one day it's gonna happen. So yeah, thanks so much for being kind and sweet, and also taking the time for the interview. I really appreciate it. And thanks as well for sharing your culture. I think, as you said, everything, it's very beautiful to see and to, to interact with the culture that's very respectful as well. And it's amazing. I think people, they are privileged when they can have a contact with the culture, Japanese culture, and they can see the difference and they can appreciate as well. So I feel very fortunate that I had different experience in my life with Japanese culture, and all of them I was fascinated, and I always will be, for sure. But before you go, if you can share a positive message, something that you live by.
Right now, it's definitely some like challenging questions which I never thought about, and that made me sort of spiral in a upwards direction, and thinking of thinking answers which I never thought about, and it was really insightful. I feel like I was welcome and appreciated, and it's lovely talking about my culture, because we always we always like talking about our cultures as a Japanese person, because we're proud of it. And and I feel very much appreciated, which is what the number one thing that I'm sort of looking for in these sort of kind of situations. So honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and Happy New Year. Enjoy your year ahead, 2023. Okay, good luck with your career.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you soon.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.